Hi everybody, I'm Missi Matthews. I want to welcome you inside Heinz Field. The Steelers have officially kicked off training camp, holding their first practice of the season at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, and that is where we will find Mike Prisuta of the DVE Morning Show and Steelers.com. Triv, football is back. What was it like on the South Side today?
Well, it was warm, but football being back more than made up for it. I've been sweating a little bit from my perch just above us here on the deck overlooking the field. It's not St. Vincent College, but not bad, all things considered, Missy.
All right, after practice, having a chance to hear from Coach Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, TJ Watt. Coach Tomlin with the best news of the day. Nobody is starting on the PUP, the physically unable to perform list, but there was one player who did miss practice today, so explain that one for us, Mike.
Kevin Dotson tweaked a little something, according to Mike Tomlin, so that'll be something to keep an eye on here in the early going. There are many things that fall into that category, but the offensive line, Missy, managing to make itself noticeable nonetheless.
Yeah, Kendrick Green, as Ben Roethlisberger said, he took first-team reps, made the calls. They didn't have any fumbles, and he will be the starter for the Steelers at center in the Hall of Fame game, right?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin addressed that as well, Missy, following practice, and he told us it's no longer a semicircle. We have a different formation to keep socially distanced. But he said, hey, if you guys want to write a story about it, you can. Well, that's sort of what we do. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. Kendrick Green is the first day starting center, and Antoine Brooks is the first day nickel cornerback. Now, that doesn't mean anything as it relates to next week, let alone Buffalo. Actually, it does mean something as it relates to next week, because those guys are going to start in the Hall of Fame game. But there's still a lot to sort out between that Hall of Fame game and the regular season opener in Buffalo. But two positions that a lot of people have been zeroing in on this offseason, because no more Marquise Pouncey and no more Mike Hilton. And very interesting to watch Kevin Green, the rookie from Illinois, and Antoine Brooks, the second-year guy from Maryland, who really didn't have much of a rookie season last year. All of a sudden, Missy, those guys are front and center.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger talking about Antoine Brooks, made the splash play of practice, it sounds like. Let's take a listen to Ben.
Well, I thought he made a great play. It was one of the sneakiest little slingshots that I've ever seen. Never would have got called, but my angle was perfect to see it. And I mentioned to him, I said, that was the best slingshot I've ever seen by a DB. And he kind of chuckled and said, thanks, because he knew he did it. But, not only did he make a great play, he caught it and everything. So, to me, I was more kind of smiled and shook my head like, what a good play, because we need those plays. He's filling Mike Hilton's shoes, who's been a rock on that defense for a while. And so, for him to make that play, I think I was happy for him, really. I mean, as mad as I was throwing an interception, it was a great play.
Triv, Ben Roethlisberger also said the arm feels great and that today was the first time he threw a football since minicamp, which ended in the middle of June. What else did you take away from Ben?
And that was a pretty big one. One of the things that I've been kind of chewing on since mandatory veteran minicamp was Ben Roethlisberger talking about feeling worn down at the end of last year. And I'm wondering if you're feeling worn down at the end of the year when you're 38, how are you going to avoid feeling worn down when you're feeling 39? But Roethlisberger talked about that today and said, well, not having thrown, I think the number he threw out was 10,000 footballs, trying to rehab from surgery. His arm is fresher, and he also referenced just how strange and different last year was. And he cited in particular that stretch where they kept moving the kickoff time. I think it was the Ravens game, and they played 5 games or 3 games in 12 days, whatever that goofy stretch of schedule was. He's hoping for a more normal type year. And that hopefully will allow him to feel more normal at the end of the year.
Yeah, aren't we all? Okay, we also had a chance to hear from TJ Watt. Of course, the Steelers recently signing Melvin Ingram, kind of adding some depth in that outside linebackers room. He is wearing number 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's TJ on Ingram.
Oh, I'm excited, man. I worked with him at the Pro Bowl, and obviously we used to watch Chargers games when Derek was playing in San Diego and LA, and just a player that has a lot of burst off the line of scrimmage. He's got a phenomenal spin move, and just seeing him in person, he's a powerful guy, and excited to work with him.
All right, Triv, final thoughts on day 1 of Steelers training camp 2021.
I keep going back to the O-line, Missy, and one of the things that is apparent to everyone, it seems, is that they're looking at having 5 guys start at positions that they did not start in last year, for the entirety of the season. And that does not happen very often in the NFL. It's a lot of change at one time. But Mike Tomlin said that the Steelers don't fear that. He also said the bar's not real high, and he referenced how they were last in rushing last year, and they have to do better than that. But Mike Tomlin also said regarding that, 5 new guys in 5 different places, offensive line, Mike Tomlin said, we're not going to be surprised when they deliver. We expect them to. So maybe it's not something that happens all the time, but the Steelers are expecting that to happen here.
All right, and yesterday, Vince Williams announced he is retiring from the Steelers and from the NFL. He was a guy who was cut this offseason, then brought back. We saw him out at minicamp here at Heinz Field with the Steelers. What did anybody have to say about losing Vince today after practice?
T.J. Watt talked about it and how close he was with both of those guys being defensive players. Mike Tomlin said that the Steelers didn't necessarily see that coming and that Vince Williams will be missed. The thing that I will probably remember most of all about Vince Williams was a little nugget they had on the press release announcing his retirement. 6th-round pick in 2013. And if I'm remembering this correctly, Missi, only 10 players from Vince Williams' draft class played longer in the NFL than he did, more games in the NFL than he did. Pretty good run for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, and we wish Vince the very best in his next chapter. Triv, thanks for your time today as always. We appreciate it. We'll catch up again on Sunday, the Steelers' last practice on the south side before everybody moves over here to beautiful Heinz Field. Thank you.
I'll remember my hat on Sunday.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you soon.